That's what I think. And we're gonna get into that. But I do want to go ahead and jump on what Roland Martin had to say about Martin Luther King.
Signed an executive order declassifying all of the papers regarding the assassination of President John F. Kennedy, Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and Senator Robert F. Kennedy. Let me explain to y'all what's about to happen. What's about to happen. In 5 or 6 years, the FBI so-called recordings of Dr. King were set to be released. Those will now be released. The FBI, who I simply do not believe, claims that Dr. King, they have recordings of Dr. King having affairs, involved in orgies. They claim that he was with a white prostitute in Las Vegas. And these were all notes. David Garrow wrote a story. No American media entity would run the story. So he went to a small outlet overseas. And there were the notes. And these notes were a part of the JFK papers at the Library of Congress or National Archives. And so he wrote a story based on the notes. So Charlie Kirk, Turning Point USA, when he did all those videos trashing King, oh, we should be celebrating him. Let me explain to you why they doing this here. I just want y'all to understand what's about to come down. They are going to try to completely to destroy the legacy of Dr. King. I guarantee you, when these papers are released and you get the recordings and all the stuff from the FBI, people are going to say, take his name off of streets, take his name off of elementary schools. We should not have programs honoring him. We should not have scholarship programs. He was not a moral man. I'm telling y'all, don't think.
So let me say this. They're already pulling back on DEI initiatives all over the place. Whether Martin Luther King's name is on something or not is irrelevant to me. But what I will say is, I don't agree with that. Unless Martin Luther King was R-ing somebody, or, you know what I mean? I'll even excuse him being, like, depending on how young, y'all. It depends on how young. But, like, say they got a phone conversation between Dr. Martin Luther King and some 17-year-old girl. I'm probably still not going to feel like y'all should take his name off shit. Like, probably not. I'm probably not going to feel like we need to go through all of that. Y'all kept them Confederate monuments up for at least 50 some odd years after we'd already known that these people were huge racists and slave owners and fighting to keep people enslaved. Like, girl, those aren't good people. Those aren't moral people. And y'all just not starting to take their names off the streets. So I don't know why we would be in a rush. And I feel like, low key, if this is what y'all are worrying about, I understand how we will eventually, like, girl, we're gonna be in the power. We're gonna be in the parable of the sower, girl. We're gonna be in the parable of the sower messing around with y'all because y'all are worried about the wrong shit. As far as I'm concerned, y'all, in real life, in order to live in that much darkness, you have got to be seeking some type of pleasure in order to balance how depressing life must have been. Let's be fucking for real, y'all. Let's be for real for a second. All of the civil rights activists are being abused daily, physically, emotionally, mentally. Things are being put out about them. They're being hit upside the head. They're getting fire hoses put on them. They're getting arrested. They're being spit at. Do you really think Martin Luther King was probably not searching for pleasure in other ways so that he can continue to live and fight the way he did? I know y'all don't want to, like, be real about that. But in our real everyday lives, how do you usually deal with life being fucked up? As a New Orleans person, baby, we love to drink, party, come together, dance. Like, we love to go into our enjoyment in the worst times Because what else can you do? What else can you do? What else can you do? I believe it simply because his life seemed to be so structured, so dark. There has to be an opposite side of that. There has to be something on the other side of that for how he was able to balance himself in front of everybody. And oppressing everything inside of you does not give you self-control. Oppressing your need for pleasure does not give you self-control. It actually gives you less self-control. So to me, if you think I'm about to be mad and feel like he still didn't do what I have been told and saw based on my, reading books, movies, television, yes, all of that, but also the things that our grandparents and our moms and dads who were alive during that time, the things that they say. My dad was somebody that actually marched back in the day. My dad was born in 1948, was, 18-year-old man being involved in the civil rights movement. Okay, so at the end of the day, what that made me recognize is that Martin Luther King and the rest of them are just like the well-known, educated Black men in my environment in New Orleans. A lot of the educated, well-known, self-respecting, good job, shaking the hands, charismatic, clean-cut Black men from New Orleans are whores in real life. They cheat, or they have some side chick, or they like raggedy women that they would never really marry, but they like to go to the hood and fuck on, the girls that they would never really claim in real life. And you know what I'm saying? When I was growing up, we were literally watching men do two things: go out into the world and try to create something better for everybody, but then also in real life be cheaters. Like I don't know where anybody's been. I don't know where anybody has been. And I feel like that man was never perfect. The idea that you thought he needed to be perfect in order for him to be respected for what he did is ridiculous to me. It's ridiculous to me. That man fought. His very short life was all about the progression of Black people. Even if it wasn't always being done the right way, I feel like the intention behind it was always to progress us, to get us from this place of constantly being abused by any white person that decided they wanted to do so. So to me, I don't care about you being a whore. I'm low-key not even interested in hearing what has to be said, because who cares at this point? As long as it's not him taking advantage of people and having sex with women against their will and all of that type of shit, you ain't harming, killing no children. And I don't care. I don't care. It has absolutely no value. It has no value in it. Him being a possible whore does not change the fact that racism is wrong and y'all are wilding. Those two things have nothing to do with each other, babe. So to me, I wish that as a Black people, we weren't always so worried about image, because maybe if we weren't so worried about what's being said about us or the image and how we're being seen, then we can actually deal with what's real and push forward what's actually real. And what's real is people are whores. What's real is people are whores. Like, no matter how you try to slice it, people enjoy sex for the most part. It is what it is. Get over it. Get over it. Find something else to worry about. Find something else to talk about. And if you're going to talk about sex, talk about it from a balanced standpoint. Be real about it. Stop bullshitting with yourself. Everybody be fucking, and then online acting like we're all, just pure, we're pure, we're saved, sanctified, Holy Ghost. We all had sex after marriage. We've all have had our babies in wedlock. Like y'all really be online with the most bullshit. When in real life, look around. You do not have to be pure sexually in order to be a good person. Cut it out. I'm still riding for Martin Luther King. Because to be the image at a time when there was so much vitriol and hatred towards Black people, I can never just act like him being sexual or having a lot of sex is going to make me feel like he still didn't do what he did. Like the intention wasn't still to help. That's how I feel. So let's move on.